There is nothing more powerful than God's girls coming together into a room
Yes.
together and worshiping him, and we lay aside whatever we've come with into that building. And it's not just specific to these conferences. I mean, it's anywhere women come together, but in these specifically, we're laying aside the problems we might have with our husbands, or the things our kids are going through, or fears we have, or health crises. And you lay that down at the feet of Jesus and you just worship him with 20,000 other women. There is nothing more special to me than the power in the room.
Welcome back to another episode of the Juggling Life Finding Balance podcast. I'm your host, Vivian Cummins, and do I have a treat for y'all today? Joining me on this episode is Erin Cluley. She is the creative director for Joyce Meyer Ministries and co-host to Joyce Meyer's Talk It Out podcast. Erin is like so many of us ladies who are just trying to juggle all the things. She's a career professional, a writer, collaborator, podcast contributor, and a wife and mom to 2 energetic kiddos. And y'all, she is on fire for the Lord. But I'm sure we can all relate. Sometimes it is hard to do all of that and keep our relationship with God intact. And that's what we're going to talk about today. How do we balance home, work, careers, calling, all the while maintaining our walk with God? So come on in and join us for this amazing conversation. Welcome, Erin. I am so excited to have you on today. How are you, my friend?
I am good. Thank you so much for having me. It's
Oh,
an
of
honor to be here.
course. Oh, it's an honor for me too. You know what? We are going to dive into a topic today that I think so many women can relate to, and it's the challenge of juggling the family, career, calling, and our walk with God. But before we dive into all that stuff, I would love for you to share a little bit about yourself, your family, where you're from, all the good things.
Sure. So I am a mom and a wife, and we live in Fenton, Missouri. And I've got 2 kids, an 10-year-old son, almost 11. It feels very 11 right now. And then a girl daughter. And then my husband and I, we've been married for 15 years. And I am from Oklahoma. You can tell by my Western wear behind me. Um, got some strong Oklahoma roots. And that's a little bit about who I am. I work for Joyce Meyer Ministries, so I'm the creative director there. And so I relate very much to the topic of which we're going to discuss today, because I am learning how to juggle.
I know you are. I know we all are. I think it's something that we have to do we have to be intentional every single day. And
Now,
we'll talk a little bit about that. But yeah, I read somewhere that you were from Oklahoma, and I was like, hooray, I got another Oklahoma friend. And
Okie.
yes, I know, I
No,
love it. You do not have an accent. I'm not hearing
no,
it.
no, I don't, and I wish I did. I originally am
Well,
from California, and we moved to Oklahoma when I was 10, and so
okay.
I don't know if it's those formative years that give you that accent.
Maybe.
So I'll try to throw like a y'all in there,
Get it in there.
but it just doesn't, like, the rest of the sentence doesn't sound anything like it, so it doesn't feel like
Oh,
it fits.
it's not authentic.
No, it feels like
Yeah.
I'm cheating.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
I know.
Hey, you say that you're currently the creative director for Joyce Meyer Ministries. And so I'd love for you to just tell me, what does a creative director do? I am so in awe of that title.
It sounds really great. It is,
It
and it's
is.
an honor to get to have that job. Um, I've worked at the ministry for, I think this is my 16th year, and so I've got to try all these different things, and it's just really been a neat journey. So currently in my role as creative director, I work with all of our creative teams. So a lot with our writers and designers. Work closely with our web team, our broadcast team, and talk about messaging and making sure what we are putting out there is consistent, and that we are accurately sharing the gospel and Joyce's message, and what creative ways can we share the gospel that we haven't thought of before, or what's going to reach culture in a way that they need right now, and how can we just hear what the Holy Spirit is showing us for what his people need, and then use creative ideas to make it happen. So I work with the most brilliant people. I just I just help them, but they're really the brains behind all of it.
I love that. I'm currently my book is in with the publishing team right now, and so we're talking about the book cover. And they
Yeah.
say to me, "Give us your ideas," and I'm just like blank.
Book covers are hard.
Covers are
They're
so
hard.
hard.
Are.
And I I'm just like, "No, I want you guys to do it," and they're
Yeah,
like, "Well, we wanna capture who you are and the
sure.
message behind the book and all the things, and only you can tell us that." And so
Right.
I am just in awe at folks such as yourself and your team who can just those that creative stuff. I can write, but I can't come up with, like, that kinda stuff,
Sure.
so we
Yeah.
need you in our
But it's
world.
amazing to see how God I mean, it truly is like the hands and feet of Jesus and how
Mhm.
he created the body. You can see
Yeah.
it in things like this, where
Mhm.
one person writes really well and one person sees visually what that could be. And so to
Mhm.
see it come together into the vision of what God is working, it's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's a pretty
Yeah,
exciting
it
part of being
is.
a Jesus follower.
I love that. I love that. So, you also are co-host to Joyce Meyer's Talk It Out podcast.
Yeah.
And so I want to back up if we can just a smidge. And if you wouldn't mind letting those who are listening and watching kind of that may not be familiar with Joyce Meyer. Maybe not everybody is.
Yeah.
So can you kind of just explain to us, introduce us to that ministry? Who's Joyce Meyer? What's this
Sure.
ministry? And how did you get to St. Louis to work in this ministry?
Yeah. So Joyce Meyer is a Bible teacher, and she has been teaching the Bible over 40 years or over 50. It's somewhere in there, it's a big number. And she's got an incredible story of how God has transformed her life. So she was abused by her father all growing up. And she's got an incredible story of how God transformed her heart and her mind and her emotions and healed her wounded soul from the abuse that she experienced growing up. And so she's a trailblazer for women sharing their stories because before her, women weren't speaking out about what they've been through and what God can do for them on a platform like that. And so she really has paved the way for women to get to share their story of what God has done in their own lives. And so I started working for her, I think, like I said, 16 years ago. But I grew up listening to her because one of her best-selling books, Battlefield of the Mind, my parents loved. My dad especially, it changed his life. And so we watched her in our house and there was always books around. And so when I was like, I was probably 10, I decided I wanted to be her when I grow up.
Oh, that's cute.
Isn't that adorable? You can't actually be Joyce Meyer. There's no one else
Oh
like her.
my
God
heavens, I
could
can't
make her
imagine.
her. Just amazing. So as I grew up and realized my giftings might look a little different, it's been such an honor to get to see full circle, like that little dream I had as a little girl to get to be her. I can't be her, but God has let me come alongside and just be a part of what she's doing. So yeah, that's how I know her.
Here's just a fun fact. I'm a little bit older than you. So I came to know Joyce Meyer and her teaching in 1996.
Okay.
I was stationed with my first husband in Simbach, Germany, and he had just told me he wanted a divorce. And so I was working in the HR department for civilian personnel at the time, and I had a lady there that I worked with, and she was just on fire for the Lord. I mean, and so she took me in and said, first of all, she said, "You're too skinny." She's like, "You haven't eaten. You're coming to my house and I'm going to cook for you." And so I was like, okay. And I wasn't too skinny, and I wasn't too skinny, y'all. I'm just telling you. But she thought that I needed to eat. And so I went to her house and she made these chicken wings and some greens and cornbread. I mean, she fed my soul. She fed my soul. And she's like, "You're going to sit down. We're going to watch these tapes." So she brings out the VHS tapes, and shoves it in the VCR. And it was Joyce Meyer. And I think we watched 3 tapes that night. Well, she's feeding my soul, and Joyce is feeding my spirit, and all the things. And that's how I kind of figured out who she was, and then became a fan there. And of course, I've read the Battlefield of the Mind multiple times. And so yeah. Oh, one more fun fact. So okay, so in 2017, were you working for the ministry at that time?
I was
2017. Okay. I think it was 2017. Do you remember, it was one of those Love Life conferences,
yeah.
with Joyce, and there was social unrest in St. Louis during that
Mm.
time frame. There was something that had happened in the media, and, I was there. I was at that one, and, there was all these protests and stuff going on outside, and, we were all waiting outside for the second, half of the program to start, and there was a protest that came out and was kind of harassing some of us ladies. So they let us in, and they let us in. And I remember once everything started back again, I think it was Joyce that said, there's so much power in this building that there's nothing outside those doors that can harm a house full of Christian women. It was
That is so true.
amazing.
That's the way those women's conferences are some of my most special memories
Yes.
of being a part of that place because
Yeah.
they're and anytime I talk about this, it will bring tears to my eyes because there is nothing more powerful than God's girls coming together
Mm,
into a room
yes.
together and worshiping him, and we lay aside whatever we've come with into that building. We and it's not just specific to these conferences. I mean, it's anywhere women come together, but in these specifically, we're laying aside the problems we might have with our husbands or the things our kids are going through or fears we have or health crises, and you lay that down at the feet of Jesus and you just worship him with 20,000 other women. There is nothing more special to me than the power in the room, what God does.
Yeah. This is going to air after the fact, but I believe that we'll both be going to the one in San Antonio coming
Yeah.
up in September. And so, yeah, and I'm just looking forward to, like you just said, just being in the presence of the
Mhm.
Holy Spirit. I mean, I can't even explain it, y'all. It's just like you
Oh,
could just feel the Holy Spirit just enveloping you. It is just so incredibly amazing.
it
And
really is.
for 3 days, it's just me and God's girls. I
Yeah.
love it. Oh, it's
Yep.
so good. So
Get
good.
20,000
Anyway.
other new friends.
And 20,000 other new friends. I love how when we have these little dreams, God puts these seeds in us at such a young age. And then to see God, get us to that and see it come to full circle, your
Yep.
mom and dad must be like super excited that you work for this
Yeah.
ministry.
Yeah. They're
Yeah,
proud of their daughter.
I bet. As they should be, as they should be. All right, so we're going to talk about today, all right, about being career driven, about being moms, being all the things. And so it sounds like you've always been career oriented and driven. So tell us a little bit about that. What drives your passion?
I think, like you said, it's just kind of in me to have
Hmm.
always been not even just a hard worker, but there's something that is in me that just wants to keep on finding out what the next thing is that I can be a part of. And I've always just like when I was little, I played important papers, and my grandpa would mail me like an envelope of like junk papers from whatever he was working on that he didn't need anymore. And so I would get this envelope, I'd be so excited, and I'd like scribble out and just like write important things that are not important.
That is
But
so cute.
and I liked to organize those papers, so I would play
Oh,
business.
yes. Oh, yes.
And so that's always just been like who I am. And
Hmm.
so learning how to couple that though with my own dreams and desires of what my career looks like, while also laying it down to what is it actually that God wants me to do, and not letting my pursuit I really like to achieve. That's just I don't know if you've done the Enneagram test, but I am an achiever, and that's just it fuels me. There's great things in that, but also there's a balance, and I have to watch to make sure that my desire to achieve doesn't get in the way of ultimately what I want is God's plan for my life. So there's a constant push and pull within me to make sure that he created me that way. He created me to have that drive, but to balance that with is my biggest drive to be close to him and hearing what he wants for me and not what I want for me.
That is so healthy. I I didn't get to that point until I would say maybe the last 5 years of
Good.
my career.
Uh,
And so that meant I spent, my whole life as an adult
Good.
really striving on my own selfish ambition. And so I love that you recognize that, but that you're keeping God first. And He did make us, and that's one of the things that God has worked with me on these past 5 years, because I came to a place where I was like, okay, I'm surrendering it to you. I don't want to be in control anymore. But then I was starting to really feel down on myself because I am so driven and stuff like
Right.
that. I'm like, "Oh,
Right.
Lord, I'm so sorry." And then he's like, "No, no, 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 no. I made you this way.
Yeah.
And I'm using those characteristics in you because I got some pretty big cool things for you to do, and I need you to be like that, but I need you to put me first." Whereas before I was just putting the career and all the things first. So I love
Yeah.
that.
I could see that in myself. It was a couple years ago. Like, I could just feel myself striving and, like, just pushing in my own strength and what I was thinking I should be doing. And, like, it was tormenting to me. Like, why is this not happening? Why is this not looking the way I thought it was supposed to? Until one day, I probably similar to you, like, I can't live like this. I want to have peace and enjoy the life you've given me and not stress about the things that I haven't done yet. And so the freedom that I found in that, and similar to what you're saying, I really felt God saying, "No, no, it's okay to have dreams for your life. Like, I have given those to you, but for right now, you gotta put all that aside and just, like, it's one step at a time. It is what do Holy Spirit, what do you want from me in this breath?" And at some point, it will make sense, and those things He's put in my heart, I'll see them come to pass when he's ready for me to do it. And it's not because I worked really hard and stayed up really late doing all these things to make it happen. It's because I can say to somebody else, I know that I know that I know that this is Jesus's work that's happening. It has nothing to do with Aaron. This is only because God can do this.
So I was working with a life coach recently and she said, "What is your biggest dream?" And I have one. I have one God's placed in my heart. And I was like, "I don't want to tell you." And she's like, "Why?" And I said, "Because it's so big, it's ridiculous. It's embarrassing for me to share that." And so I ended up doing like a vision board and I wrote all of that stuff down. And two of those things have come to pass. And I'm like, "Oh, okay. So God is doing something."
I
So when
see you, God.
I see you. And so I've got little smiley faces on it. And I'm like, okay. And I'm looking at some of them. And so it's like, once you finally, it's so hard to surrender. It is so, so hard to surrender.
It
But
is.
once you finally do, and you start seeing God moving in those areas, and sometimes maybe He doesn't move as fast as, we want Him to. But once we start seeing those God winks, oh my gosh. I mean, I am so pumped right
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
to
I
see
think
what
that's
He's doing.
I think that's something that's I feel so passionate about is
Mhm.
God has such special plans in store for all of his kids.
Mhm.
But for women in particular, I told my husband recently, we were watching The Chosen, and I said, God has such a special place in his heart for women. And he loves you too. You men, he loves you too. But he loves me differently than he loves you. And I don't, it breaks my heart to think that we as women feel like we can't dream big, or if things have happened to us that make us feel like it's not okay to dream or it's too big for me. But working and hearing Joyce's teaching for so long, when she talks about how God called her to teach north, south, east, and west, well, that's a really big dream. And she didn't know what it meant, but you we can't bury those things God puts in our hearts. We just have to be so close to him that we're following his leading on how to do it and not running ahead of him. So probably just how he keeps us close.
Well, I think so. I mean, I've spent my own whole life running ahead of him, and it's
Yeah.
exhausting
Yeah.
because he's just kind of hanging out in the back, waiting for us to slow down,
Yeah.
and let him catch up, and then of course take the lead. And so it's just so exhausting. Um, so I'm wondering, so you're working in a really fast-paced, high-impact ministry and it's public, while you're trying to raise a small family. So what does balance in your life look like and does balance even exist at all?
Well, I'll just say that it's a current thing we're working through. And I think it will always be a conversation that we're having in our house of how do we manage all of the activities and all of the stuff. And I think it just I like to think that I can make a plan and then it's just gonna stay like that forever because that'd be really helpful to my juggling act. I've found that that just keeps not being true. And factors keep changing. So, like most recently, my husband got a new job. Well, he used to be in charge of picking the kids up after school. I would do drop off, he would do pickup, and that just so we could focus on our jobs at different times of the day. It just worked really well for us. Well, now that's not the case. And so I'm learning how to rejuggle and reassess how our schedule looks and how to do all I need to do for my job that I feel called to. Like, I think that's a part of it. Like, I know I'm supposed to be doing this. I know this is where God has for me. Also, God has called me to be a mom of these two kids, and that is more important than any of it. God's also called me to be Mike's wife, and that comes with its own demands. That's a
Yeah.
terrible word. But,
No,
like, that needs to be fed too.
I get it. I
So
get it.
all the parts of life requires things of Erin, and Erin's really tired.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so there's been some tears in the past couple weeks because my husband's so wonderful and he'll just listen, of me saying, "I'm overwhelmed. I don't know how to do all these things that have to happen in one day. I'm going to need to wake up at 3 in the morning, I think, to get it all done." And that's unrealistic. So what I'm learning to do is in each new season, like, here are all of the must-have things that we have to do right now. And then anything on top of that, it either needs to be a not now or something I know is a no for our family, or I can't make rash decisions. Like I have to just sit on things more. Um, we talk about as a family if it's something we're going to do. Are the kids going to play that sport, or do we need to say no for this season? And keeping our family unit the priority, and then from there, what is it that we can add in? And it's the family unit has to be the priority because Mike and I have to be praying about what's right for our family. So it's just constantly reevaluating and making sure my heart is focused towards God first and my family, and not what I think I should be doing, what my friends are doing, how they're raising their kids. It's what's right
That
for us.
comparison. Oh my gosh.
Oh, it's huge because that impacts this whole conversation.
Oh
It
gosh. It
makes me
really
feel like I
does.
can juggle 20 extra things on top of it
Mhm.
because, well, they're doing it and they seem to be
Mhm.
fine. That mom seems like she really has her act together with her job and her 20 activities. We barely made it out the door for school today and we forgot our water bottle in the car. So it's but I can't do that. I can't compare. I've got to stay true to who is the Cluley family, who has God called us to be, and are we living out what he's called our family to be?
I love it that it's family decisions. I mean, between you and your husband, of course, but you involve the children, and I'm sure you're letting them understand and know, we can't do that right now, but we can do this and so forth. Making those decisions, this is a silly example of something that I've done recently that affected my husband and I, those rash decisions. So we
Yeah.
had somebody come to us 3 weeks ago and say, "Hey, I'm going overseas for 2 weeks. I need somebody to babysit my puppy." And
Oh,
because I've been working from home and all the things for so long, I kind of get a little lonely. Okay,
yeah.
I'm just gonna say it. I get a little lonely. And our dog passed away many, many years ago. So I said, "Oh, won't this be fun? I will. I will watch this puppy." Now, Aaron, it was a 7-month-old golden retriever, okay?
You
And
are an angel for saying yes to this job.
well, I don't think I
Please,
knew what
please
that
take credit.
meant. I mean, we had a basset hound back when we had a dog. Basset hounds are like total chill. They get maybe 15 seconds of the zoomies and then they're out for the next 22 hours. You know what I mean? And so I was like, this will be fun. We'll go on walks and she can lay by my side while I'm writing and all the things. That dog had so much energy. The second day, talk about having a breakdown and crying. I was bawling to my husband, bawling because it was just insanity, Aaron. It was insanity and chaos, and I invited that into my home. And I'm actually writing a blog post about this because it's about making those decisions during an emotional state or for obligation or people pleasing or whatever my reasons were. I did not even go to God at all and ask him, "Sh- should I do this?" And if I'd have taken a minute and asked him, he would have said, "No, baby girl, because guess what? That's going to be a ginormous distraction to you. And I need you to focus on getting your book into publishing. I need you to do this, this, and this." And I didn't. So I took on that responsibility. And for 2.5 weeks, I was a just stressed out mess with
Yeah.
this dog. It was
Yeah.
awful. It was awful.
That's something I for sure had to learn. And I would say in the past, probably couple years, it's just, I'd like to think maybe age is part of it too. The wisdom I'm acquiring as I grow. But I think I have to be okay to say no. I am very, I love people. I love fun ideas. I love them at the time until we get to them, and I'm thinking, "Why would I ever think I could commit to this? This
Yeah.
is
What
this
was
is
I
a terrible
thinking?
choice." Like a puppy at 7 months old.
7 months old. Oh,
Yes, but my desire to, like, have fun and help friends and
yeah.
please people really has impacted in a negative way. It's impacted me, it's impacted my family, that
Mhm.
I have really had to learn I have to say no,
Yeah.
and I don't know if you've ever read Dr. Cloud's Boundaries book.
Yes.
That changed
Yes.
me
Yes, it
because
does.
I have to where are the boundaries for me and what the
Mhm.
boundaries for our family? And
Mhm.
it is not unchristian of me to say no. In fact, God is the one who shows us how to create boundaries, and Jesus had boundaries, and I have to protect that for myself and my family. And if somebody doesn't like it, that's something they're going to have to work through. I can't worry about people pleasing them and for the sake of my family and
That's so
myself.
good. And you know what? That is such a reminder for us too. I recently asked somebody to do something and they pulled out the boundary card as they should. Do you know what? My first I was offended. I
Oh,
was
see,
offended.
me too. Do
I
you
my
care?
I was offended and I'm just like and I so I my husband gets home that night and I was like, "Can you believe?" And I found myself getting a little gossipy, "Can you believe?" And then he's like, "Hmm." And then that night I couldn't sleep because I'm like, "Oh my gosh, Viv, you know better than that. Number 1, I shouldn't have got offended. Number 2, I mean, she did the right thing. She didn't have space in her schedule for what I asked of her, and that is fine." Ugh, but it's
Yeah,
hard
I've done
when
the
it's on
same
the other
thing.
side.
I've done the same thing. It was with a friend, and they said no to something, and it was a boundary. So I told multiple people, like, "Look at this. Can you believe
Oh,
this?" And they
I'm
were
so
like,
glad you're
"That was
like
really
me.
great. She really responded well.
Hell yeah.
That was great." And I was like, "Well, what about me?" But you're right. Like, that's an Aaron issue. That's
Mhm.
something that I have to then deal with if they're
Yep.
gonna be true to who they are and their boundaries, and I
Yep.
need to do the same for myself.
Yep. I get it. I get it. Boy, we're just a work in progress
All the time.
every day.
All the time.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, I've kind of already oh, this next question that I had prepared for you is about the boundaries, so we maybe I've already talked about it, but so how are you fully present at home, fully present at work? What boundaries do you set so that you can balance that career and ministry that doesn't consume all of your energy? So like what do? You go on date nights? What do you do?
Yeah, it's hard. I think it is hard. I think there's always I was thinking about today, like, even right now. So I have a kid who went to school this morning who said he didn't feel great. He was gonna power through. So all day I'm like, "Am I gonna get a phone call?" So there's always this, like, underlying current, I think, of whatever the thing is that you're not doing. Because then when I'm with my kids and I'm trying to be present with them, I'm thinking, "What about that thing at work that I haven't finished or need to do? Or what about this idea?" So it's something I have to constantly ask for help with, asking the Holy Spirit to help me because I want to be present for my kids. I don't want them to see mom on the computer or her phone all the time. I There is a place for that, and I love that they see that mom is working really hard and mom is passionate about what she's doing and she's excited. But also, mom is always present when I'm asking her questions, and she gives me eye contact when I'm talking to her and not too consumed with her phone. So, constantly working on that and the marriage piece. My husband and I went through some really difficult years. I think it's been 5 years ago. It was during COVID. Everybody probably had really difficult
It's a tough
marriage
time.
years, but that's a lot of things came to light for us, and
Mm,
so it took a couple years to really decide we wanted to stay married and work through it. So since that time, we realized, like, how precious marriage is, and it's something that can so easily be broken. And if both of us are not really on guard to when we're feeling extra irritable with each other or we're just not communicating well, being willing to stop and have those conversations, that's been really important to protecting the boundary of our marriage in the chaos of our life, is being really aware of where we stand and how we are interacting with each other.
yeah, that's so important. My husband and I are in a season right now too where he's a general manager for a transit company here, so he's working a tremendous amount of hours. He always has actually, But now right now, he's just really busy, and so he's working a lot of hours, and I'm at the house, you know? We're empty nesters, I'm at home, and, he comes home, and I'm just like, "Wah!" and I'm going 90 to nothing, and he's like, "Babe," you
Yes.
know? And
I could
so
doubt to do that myself, so
and so I understand that. I mean, I get it, but I'm in a season kind of isolation, and he's in a season where he's in the public eye. He's people are talking to him, touching him, all the things all the time, and so we're just having to kinda, "Okay, this is a season," so we've recognized it, and we're like, "Okay, we can get through this, but it's not always gonna be like this." But it's that communication because I could just as easily be pouty over here in the corner because he's not wanting to talk a lot when he comes home,
absolutely.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, I
And,
think so much of it is us having to have grace for them
yeah,
and
yeah.
being able to look at your season and say, "Okay," like, for example, the school years in the fall is especially busy for us with all the stuff going on, and so we some nights of the week, we're just ships passing in the night, and I know so many moms in the same spot. You see your husband on the way to another game or practice, and it's just so I could internalize that and start feeling really sorry for myself because my husband's not sending me lovey-dovey text messages all day long because he's not gonna see me today and just feel really sorry for myself. Or together we can recognize this is gonna be a little bit more challenging. We're gonna have to prioritize. Like, I know I need to get a date night in the next couple weeks. I know that's an important thing for he and I right now. And so doing like you're saying and being aware, I think makes such a difference to realize like this is not forever. This is a season that we're in and we can push through it together, but talking about it and not just like building up resentment or frustration inside and then it all blows up. That I don't want that. And we've done
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I get it. And and this is kind of what we're doing right now is he's got about a 25-minute drive home from work and so that he calls me and he's like, "Hey babe, I'm on my way." And then he just puts it on speaker and lets me go and he just drives as I just get it all out. Let me get it out, and then when he comes through, I give him a hug, kiss, we sit down to dinner, some small talk, and then I let him go get in the recliner and let him kinda chill out, and I go do whatever I'm gonna do, but that's kind of our way of giving each other the grace that we need in this season. Yeah.
I think that's so good. You have to find out
Yeah.
what works for you and
Yeah.
whatever season you're in.
That's right, that's
Yeah.
right. So, I think I told you earlier before we hit record, but I spent a large majority of my adult life in my career striving and ended up having severe burnout and had a breakdown in the middle of all of that. So I'm just wondering, have you ever felt that way?
Oh, yes.
Tell us.
Most
Can you tell
definitely.
us?
Yes. I would say it's probably like cyclical, not to the extreme that you had gotten to, but I can feel how that could happen. I can see how somebody could get to that point. And it often happens for me when it's so silly. Like I recognize the ridiculousness of it, but like if my kid gets sick, to me, then I feel the weight of all of the things that I can't control out of all the things I'm trying to keep in the air. And it's an example of like one ball gets pushed out in the spot that it's not supposed to be in, and then everything comes crumbling down, and it makes me feel overwhelmed and inadequate. And I, how will I ever do all of it? And so those points, I know I have experienced this long enough to know, and then that's when I get anxiety and just kind of panic. I know enough to know now that is exactly when I need to run to the Father. And gosh, some of those times have been such the sweetest moments I've ever had with the Lord because he'll he'll draw near to the brokenhearted and he is strong when I am weak. And so I feel like a little kid sometimes when I feel that overwhelmed or to the point of I can't do this. Apart from you, I literally can do nothing. And always I am met with I feel like a dad wrapping his arms around me, like, "I'm proud of you, Erin. You're doing great." let me carry the load for you. And immediately, I can usually feel that weight release and that pressure valve released. And it doesn't mean anything changed. Like I still have to go back and do all the stuff that I had to do before I broke down. But there's a new sense of peace because I know that it isn't my strength. Like I wrote down this verse. It's one of my favorites. Um, John 15:5. I am the vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. And that is a verse I have to cling to because I literally know I cannot do anything apart from him. I can't do all of the things you said I do unless I am so fully reliant on the Holy Spirit. And we talk a lot, me and the Lord, in the car because I'm in the car a lot. You're driving a bit here, you're going to work there. I'm just in the car a lot. So I just talk to God a lot in there, like, hey, just help me. Yeah, got any ideas for me? I take walks during the day in between meetings just to like clear my head and be close to him. And he's a part of my every breath. And it's not just like I have to get my quiet time in the morning and check that off. And I read my chapter of the Bible. Sometimes I don't get to it, but it's a constant conversation all day long that be near to me, help me, give me wisdom, help me keep my mouth shut right now so I don't say things I shouldn't say. Help me lead this meeting well. Help me talk to my kid later. Help me be quiet so you can talk to me just all day.
Well, thank you so much for sharing all of that. So, Erin, what do you do to invite God into your busy schedule?
Oh, I just ask him to come along with whatever it is that we're doing. So I
Come
don't
on, join the fun.
basically because we don't have a lot of like time to just sit with him.
Yeah.
I have reworked my schedule now that school started again and getting up earlier. And so I'm getting that time in. I also know enough to know that it will not last in this perfect bubble the way I have set right now. I something will, you know, derail at some point. So I'm going to do my best, but then also it's just knowing he's with me as a part of every part of my day. It's just he's my constant companion. And that might sound cheesy and Christian, but I got to tell you it's so true because I know like right now I just feel like I'm not alone. I'm in my house by myself, but I'm not alone here and in the car when I'm going to pick up the kids or in that meeting that I have to lead that I'm kind of nervous about. I just know he's always present. So our relationship with him isn't just about that quiet time. It's about doing our entire life with him. He just wants to be involved in everything that we do. And if he's going to call us to do something, he's going to be with us as we do it.
Hmm. I had a 2-hour drive yesterday, 2-hour one way, 2-hour back. And I just had the best conversation with God. You know what I mean? I did.
Yeah.
I talked about everything and the time flew by. I was like, "Oh, I'm at
Yeah.
my destination. Look at that." But I
Yeah.
mean, it was just bringing them with you everywhere you go. I mean, like
Yeah.
today, gonna take some time. Remember that dog I was telling you I was babysitting? Well, there's dog hair everywhere. So I'm gonna take some time today and I'm gonna clean my house and I'm just gonna put on some worship music. I'm gonna talk
Yeah.
to God while I do it. We can do
Yeah.
it every single moment of every single day. You can include God,
I love that.
you know?
Well, I've been teaching my kids about how to hear his voice
Mm,
because they're learning about that.
yeah.
And explaining that to them has actually been really good for me. Like, how do I know I'm hearing from God? And the more time we spend with Him and invite Him to be in those parts of our everyday life, the more you get used to that, like knowing in your gut when He's leading you to do something, or when you put something on your heart that you know that you would never think of yourself. The more that He's just a part of everything we do, the more we get to hear from Him, and it becomes exciting. And it's not always exciting. Sometimes it's just quiet, and that's okay. But I know that I know that I know that I'm experiencing him as I do my day. And he's not in my box for morning time. He's in my life.
Yeah. Yes. I love that. I love that. And I love the little God winks that once you start
Yeah,
really discerning, learning how to discern God's voice, you can pick up those little God winks,
absolutely.
you know?
Absolutely.
And it is fun. I make sure I don't know if you do this, but I journal everything. So if God does something really cute and fun, I'm like, "Oh, let me go write that down so I don't forget." Cuz there's going to come days where maybe things are a little chaotic and I don't quite hear him like I used
Yeah,
to. And so I just want to remember those times. Do you
that's so
journal,
good.
by the
I
way?
do. I
Yeah, me
do.
too.
I
I
love
love
to
to
journal.
journal.
Yeah.
All right. I have a couple other questions for you, and then I want to do a fun little bonus round of questions. Um, so I really believe that God, His heart is for us to enjoy our families, our work, and the lives that He's given us. So in this season, what has God shown you that helps when life gets busy? What's one or two things?
Let's see. I think well, I know it's asking him more for wisdom in situations because I think the more you add to your plate and that you are juggling, the more you have to make fast decisions and figure things out. And I don't want to get ahead of myself, like we talked about earlier. I want to do it the way that he wants me to. So I am desperate for wisdom. So that, and then just slowing down a little bit because by nature I want to get stuff done. Just check off the list and move on. So I need to slow down and just be aware of wanting to be present where I am and where he
Yeah.
has me.
Self-care, that's one of my bonus questions. What is one thing that you do for yourself to care for yourself?
I have a love-hate relationship with working out, but
Oh,
but
really?
but I love it because of how it makes me feel. It makes me feel like I love lifting weights because I feel strong, and I've always been like a petite girl, and I was not good at sports, and I was for sure picked last on any team that you had to be picked for. That's just not me, and that's fine. But to do something that makes me feel like my body is strong enough to do whatever I need to do today, and it's just really good for my mental health. I tell my kids like I'm a much better mom after I do this. So that's something that I have made sure to build in time for. Like it's a
Good for
priority in my
you.
day.
Good for you and that you're doing it. I mean, yeah. I I've always worked out, but I've always hated it. So if you can kind of like it, that's a bonus.
I like how I feel after it's
After,
over.
okay, I hear you. I okay, thanks for
Yes.
that clarification.
I am not thoroughly having the best time of my life during it,
Yeah.
but I know that it will be worth it at the end, so I'm able
Yeah.
to power through.
Yeah.
But it impacts my life enough that it's been worth
Yeah.
making it a priority.
I love that. What do you do for fun? For fun, you, not with the kids. What does Erin do for fun?
Well, I just got a Kindle last year,
Oh,
so
just
I'm
last year?
reading. I know. Because I like paper. Like, even,
Oh my
like,
gosh, I
notes
do too.
today, I just wrote them in a journal with a pen,
Mhm. Mhm.
and I was making notes for a meeting yesterday with my pencil and a piece of paper,
I still do
and so
that
I
too.
like a book with pages, but last year, I just thought, maybe I'll try it, I'll be a big girl," and I love it. So I read all the time, and the cover of my Kindle's really cute, like,
Oh
right
my
here, it's
gosh. Let
just
me see.
so
Oh, that
pretty.
is so
Isn't that
cute.
cute?
Mine is just
So that
solid pink.
oh,
Nothing
you should
fancy.
but
Oh.
yeah, that's just been something I can sneak it in. When I have some
Mhm.
just take a brain break.
Mhm.
No.
I haven't read for fun, like, in a long time. Everything that I'm reading is like, how do you podcast? How do you I mean everything is like how to and self-helpy and all that other stuff. If you have any recommendations, you need to give me a
Sure.
good book out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have found that because I read all day long for my job,
Yeah.
it's just constantly consuming content, whether it's obviously lots of Joyce's content, but then
Mhm.
what can I learn from other organizations and things.
Mhm. Mhm.
So it has been so good for my brain and my creativity to read fiction because it just like it takes you to another place and it's just
Yes.
like give your brain a break.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly. I'm a huge John Grisham fan. I love
Oh
anything
yeah.
dealing with law and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, I've got a whole bunch of books here. Every time he has a book out, I always go buy the hardback. I don't know why I'm weird, but I have to have for his books, they have to be hardback, no
I get
paperback.
it. And those are
Anyways,
impressive looking books. Like they're thick. So they look
they're so
like you look like
nice.
an avid reader.
I know, I know. So maybe I need to pick up one of those and start that again.
Yeah.
Okay, Erin, what makes you laugh?
I just really love life and people. So
Mhm.
I can laugh pretty easily. Like I can find joy in silly things pretty easily.
Good for
And
you.
so one thing I have learned in the past year, to your question earlier, is to lighten up in moments that tend to cause me to like, er, so like making dinner. My husband will like come up behind me and like try to give me a kiss and be silly. And usually I'm like, get away, I'm trying to make dinner and I have 10 things to do. And I truly believe it was the Holy Spirit. Like he's trying to approach you and love you and be silly. Let that be in your home. Lighten up. So I'm trying to be more lighthearted because I am if I let myself be. So then I laugh a lot and letting the kids be silly and just finding joy in what they're doing. That's probably where I find the most joy.
My husband, you said that about your husband coming and messing with you when you're trying to do dinner. I actually said this to my husband the other day. I said, "Hey, how come you don't chase me around the house like you used to?"
Like, because we
You
told him
know?
to stop.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
stuff like that used to get on my last nerve, and now I'm like, "Hey,
I know.
come catch me." It won't
Yeah.
take you long because 'cause I'm slower than I used to be, you know?
But it's fine.
I know. We are so silly sometimes that we're like, "Stop it," and then we're like, "Hey, keep doing it."
Yes,
Oh my
but don't.
gosh. But don't do it.
Yeah.
Okay, we know that you're a podcast co-host as well. So, what's one person that you would love to meet someday, maybe that you haven't already, and what question would you ask him or her?
We have had the honor to meet some amazing
Y'all
people
have.
on the podcast, and
Mhm.
it's just truly an honor. I'm just flabbergasted sometimes that I get to do what God has let me do. But this is a silly answer to this question. I was thinking about it. Like I would if I can meet someone who's maybe not alive anymore, like someone like a woman from the 1900s. This is not at all where you thought I was going to go with this answer, but like women and like women who were like in wartime, because there is a strength in them that is different from who we are as females now, and and like women around the World War, they didn't have World War II, and I guess one too. They didn't have the rights that we have, and but yet they were called up to fill the gap for men when they were gone, and like God has used women all of history, and so these women who had strength in a way that is different from what we have now, I would love to pick their brain. And like, what were you thinking when you had to do that? And how did you find your identity when your husband was called to war and you had to do things that were typically male professional jobs? And I just think that would be so fascinating.
That is a fabulous answer. No, it's not what
Kind
I
of like, bless
expected,
you. No.
but oh my gosh, that would be so cool. That would be so cool. Yeah.
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 Because
And
I
you're
think there's
right. Oh my gosh, that women were so strong. I mean, yeah. And we have that in us too.
oh, we
You
do.
know what I
And
mean?
we're still strong in different ways.
Mhm.
We have to
Different
do
ways.
things that they didn't have to do.
Mhm. Mhm.
But what that speaks to is how much I think there's value in learning from different generations.
Mhm.
That
Yes.
I need to learn from above me, those who are
Mhm.
older and have gone before me, and I need to
Yep.
learn from those who have come behind me. And
Yes.
what do they know that I don't know?
Yep.
I think it's so important.
That was great. Great answer. What's your life verse and why is it your life verse?
Well, I have a life verse that I picked when I was in like graduated college that I knew God gave me. I won't read it all. It's really long. Isaiah 61, 1-3. So that's the spirit of the sovereign Lord is upon me because he has anointed me to proclaim the good news to the poor. And it goes on to say all the things that God has called us to do. And my favorite part is to comfort all who mourn and provide for those who grieve in Zion, to bestow upon them a crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of joy instead of mourning, and a garment of praise instead of a spirit of despair. And so I love that. Just I know that I've been called to love on women and just show them or point them to who they are in Christ, not who the world says that you are, but who does Jesus say you are? And you are fearfully and wonderfully made. So find out who he has created you to be. So I think that's my life verse for sure. But I have like everyday verses, like Philippians 4, 6-7. That's repeated quite often in my heart and head. Be anxious for nothing, but in everything with praise and supplication, present your requests to God, and the peace that passes all understanding will guard your heart and your mind in Christ Jesus. That's just a constant replay in
Yeah,
my mind.
I love it.
Can I tell you
those are
one
great.
more?
Yes, I want you to tell
Okay.
me. Yes.
As women, and on
Mm.
this topic, I think it's so important, is Matthew 11:28-30. Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your soul. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. So, to any women who feel, no matter what season you're in, feel burdened or overwhelmed, we are. That is true. No, but we can come to the Father and rest and lay our burdens at His feet and find peace.
I love it, and that's what balance is all about. It's
It is.
about it's just about partnering with God and
Absolutely.
letting Him lead the way, and He doesn't expect us to do all the things. That comes from us,
Yeah.
and that's not what
Yeah.
He's asking of us to
It's good.
do. You kind of already gave us some advice, but as we're coming to a close today, what advice do you have for that woman who's listening or watching and she's burned out? She's on the brink of a breakdown. She's exhausted from trying to juggle all of it. What do you have to say to her today?
Woo. I would speak that verse over her.
Hmm.
Just come to Him when you're weary, and practically, like, take a walk. Just leave your house or wherever you are, even just for 5 minutes, and take a walk and ask the Holy Spirit to speak to your heart, because He will, as His daughters, He will show us who He is in us, and He will walk us through whatever it is that we're walking through, and there's something powerful in knowing that you're not alone.
Yeah.
That as a woman who the weight we carry, it is what it is. Some of it just it is part of being a female.
Yeah.
And as a female who knows the Lord, how does He want me to carry this? And how can I give it to Him and just trust that He'll walk me through it?
Perfect. Erin, it has been an absolute pleasure to get to know you a little bit more and to
You
have this
bet.
conversation. This is so important. I know it's going to help so many women out there.
Hope
So,
so.
for those who are listening and watching, how might they get in touch with you or watch your podcast, all the things?
Sure. You can see the Joyce Meyer Talk It Out podcast. You can go to joycemeyer.org/talk it out. All the episodes are there. You can go to Joyce Meyer's YouTube page and find them there. And it's I think we just had our 6th anniversary of the podcast. So
Awesome.
done some episodes. Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, I
Yeah.
have enjoyed watching you on that podcast, and will continue to do so. Keep doing the work you're doing. You're doing amazing,
Thank
and
you.
now I have a new friend. So thank you so
You
much, Erin.
We'll see you at the women's conference.
Oh, that's right. See you soon. Thank you. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Juggling Life Finding Balance podcast. I hope it leaves you feeling encouraged and inspired. Please leave us a comment and let us know how this episode has touched you, and then head over to my website, viviancummins.com, to grab your free gift on the homepage. I look forward to serving you next episode, and until then, be blessed and stay balanced.